Resiliency has been a part of my life in a lot of different ways. Um, Doing 20 years in the military and then to the civilian sector, I've learned a lot of things over the course of those years, whether it's directly or indirectly from people, whether from reading a book or from church, having a spiritual background, just the ability to push through what life has to offer for where there is the ups and downs that you may encounter through life, having the ability to either talk your way through or just have the mental toughness to see through it. I continue to be resilient just through those principles. Um, Trying to live right, treat people right, ensure that a job is well done and complete to standard, um, and setting an example. Okay, and never letting the bad times stay bad times. Okay, pushing your way through it and ensuring that you see things through. Times are different than it was when I was growing up. So what I would have to say to the youth is don't quit, pursue your dreams, um, pursue happiness, pursue excellence in everything that you do. Don't be afraid to go try things. Don't be afraid to fail. Okay? And remember, tough times don't last always. I would tell my younger self to just that. Try hard, try new things. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You're going to fall sometimes, you're going to stumble, but always remember if you can look up, you can get up and drive on.
I would say at different stages of my life, I was able to show resilience by overcoming various obstacles. One being, for example, um, a kid coming from south side of Chicago, Inglewood neighborhood, poverty stricken. Statistics will show um, single parent, black male household, um, the odds of sort of being successful and a positive um, impact on society was pretty slim to none. I remember seeing those shows or television newscast articles or reading about them in some sort of medium. Um, so I guess I would say um, I'm not a product of my environment because I've overcome that obstacle. Another one I can think of is over 20 something years ago. Being in the military, did 5 years, coming out of the military, transitioning to the civilian sector, and trying to really sort of find my way into my career path. It was a challenge. It took over about a year and a half, I think, before I was able to land uh, my first real full time job. Um, so I would say resilience has been a part of my life. I think ever since I can remember. How do I continue to be resilient? I would say that's by faith. Um, just have that belief that I have a purpose in this world, and sort of I just sort of hopefully walk in that sort of footsteps of what destiny has called me to do, and I think that's what I've done. And the other part of how I continue to sort of be resilient is by observing my parents, most notably my mom, um, who has been dealt with a tremendous amount of health issues, um, but yet she doesn't complain. She keeps volunteering at the local food bank in Chicago. She's always willing to help folks, and I think her attitude towards um, just everything she's faced, she doesn't let it define her, and she just has this deep rooted sort of faith that she has a purpose for being here, and I think that sort of have carried on over into me, and that's how I um, stay very positive. To be resilient, I would say what my mom tells me: be encouraged. We always end our conversation where she says that. Um, and I know what she means by that. You know, it's more than just those two words. It's be optimistic, continue to work hard, um, you know, continue to have a vision and see it, and then sort of then take the path towards achieving it. That would be my words of wisdom toward the youth of today. I would tell my younger self um, to know that you are braver than you thought you would be when faced with obstacles and challenges, um, and that you are stronger than you know, um, and that it's okay to um, take a leap of faith um, and try, uh, instead of sort of sitting back and sort of observing without taking action, um, because of any sort of fear or you know that's what I would tell my younger self.
My whole life has been one of resilience. And it started as a little boy, growing up on the farm in Sussex County, Virginia. And it was during this experience that I lost my father to cancer. And he was 49 years old at the time. And I was 16 years old. And truth is, that was perhaps one of the most traumatic experiences that I've had in my life, because I really, really, really was close and very much attached to my father. But, you know, uh, thanks to the Almighty, I was able to bounce back from that. I want to fast forward, though, to the trauma created from my experience in Vietnam. I was exposed to a chemical that was called Agent Orange. And as a result of this exposure, I ended up with diabetes, hypertension, and renal cancer. You know, I look at life this way. There are some things we can change, and there are some things we can't. So the things that we can't change, we have to accept them as they are and make the best of it and keep moving forward. So this is what I opted to do. I said, worrying is not going to change anything. All I can do is put my life in God's hand and keep moving forward. So how do I continue to be resilient? First and foremost, it is my faith and my trust in God the Almighty. I believe that God does not put on any soul more than it has the ability to bear. So I trust that God will be with me in whatever my life challenges are. I trust that God will be with me. And in these challenges, in these struggles, I trust that God will be with me. And secondly, my attitude during adversity. I believe that our trials, our tribulations, our tests, and the attitude by which we approach these tests will determine the outcome. To the young men and women that perhaps are watching or listening to what I'm saying here, look, life is going to knock you down sometimes. You can expect that. Life is going to knock you down sometimes, but get back up, dust yourself off, and keep it moving. Don't lay and waddle in the dust. Get up. And as Dr. King once said, Dr. King said, if you can't run, walk. And if you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving forward. Keep moving forward, whatever you do. So resilience then is that determination to keep going, to keep moving, no matter what. And life might take you into deep water sometimes. The intent is not to drown you. Perhaps life is taking you into deep water to wash you up and clean you up and make you more presentable. Life might stretch you out of shape and form sometimes, just like a rubber band. And you know how it is, you stretch a rubber band, you can stretch it in all different directions. But when you stop pulling on it, that rubber band tends to go back to its original shape, its original form. Well, life is going to do you the same way. Sometimes it's going to stretch you out of shape, it's going to stretch you out of form, but when it stops stretching you and stressing you and pulling you in one way or the other, then bounce back to your center. Bounce back to your center and keep moving.
I watched my father, no matter what he had to encounter, he never lost his integrity. He still was a man. He walked like a man, he talked like a man, he provided for his family as a man. And my mother was the same thing, a strong Black woman that didn't have a high school education, but she worked in the daytime and she went to night school to get a GED. And it helped her and it showed us that no matter what you're faced with, if you're persistent, if you have the mind, you can overcome whatever is thrown your way. So when it comes to resilience and how it has been a part of my life, it's because of the people that were in my life. They were strong, and because of their strength, then it was something that was instilled into their children. I continue to remain positive. I've always felt that positivity would take you a long ways. I don't like negativity. Um, I always like to be positive, keep an open mind, not be having a tunnel vision. You know, you have to always know that your surroundings are real. And when it comes to racism and, people being prejudiced, it's still alive. And I think there's a little racism and prejudice in all of us. Um, and it is because of things that we face in this world um, as humans. But I always um, prided myself on being positive, and I've never encountered anything that I didn't feel within myself that I couldn't accomplish if I was given an opportunity. And that's the way I lived my life growing up, even doing things that I didn't have to do as far as working on farms and doing this because my mother and father provided. But I wanted to get out and try things because I saw them do it, my older brothers and my father and my mom. And I figured if they could do it, I could do it. And that's the way I lived my life growing up. I didn't see anything that I didn't feel as though I couldn't accomplish, and even if it wasn't accomplished on the first go around, you still have other opportunities to make the best of the situation. And you learn from mistakes, even if mistakes are made. And something about success is um, you never be successful if you are not prone to failures. Failures in this life brings about success. So I live my life like that, knowing that there may be some failures, but through those failures you learn and you um, uh, be persistent, and the next go around it may turn into a success. When it comes to the youth and young people of this day, I have to first say to them, educate yourself. And that way, when it comes to what you want out of life, you can go out and possess it. When it comes to jobs, you can demand what you want. And it's too much um, for the young generation this day and time when it comes to mainstream and things that wasn't always available for the African American race of people. There's too much out here for you just to um, let it pass you by and don't accept the opportunities that has been afforded to you. So that's something I would say to the youth. Educate yourself when it comes to the history of your race of people and the struggles they went through, because they struggled and they went through something that you could have the opportunities that you have today, the civil rights movements and those that lost their lives. Don't let it be in vain. Take the opportunities that has been afforded to you and make the best of this life down here. Um, it's yours if you want it. Opportunities are there for you. All you have to do is reach out for it and obtain it. Um, and if you have that mindset, then nothing is impossible for you.
As a black man, I grew up in an impoverished family with my mother, father, and 3 other siblings. We lived in a mobile home with no running water, no indoor plumbing. We had an outside toilet. Wasn't until the 11th grade when we got indoor plumbing. It was many times my siblings and I were embarrassed because the school bus would come past our mobile home and they could see our outdoor toilet in the backyard. My father was home and did work, but he was an alcoholic and eventually turned into drugs. Papa was a rolling stone also, if you know what I mean. There were 4 of us at home, but I found out that there was 11 children that my father had. Wow, a lot of them was in that same neighborhood. My mom knew them very well. Woo, resilience. Wow. My brother and I, we vowed not to walk in the ways of our dad. But how many of you know when you get big and bad enough to do what you want to do, you find yourself in the same way? Drugs, alcohol, and we had a lot of girlfriends. Wow. It was times my mom used to look at us and say, y'all are just like your dad. Wow. Resilience. But dad, he did teach us some valuable things. Like, treat people like you want to be treated. Always respect the elderly. And if you have children, take care of your children and take care of your mother. Wow. Racism. I recall a time when I was riding my bike and some Caucasian brothers pulled up beside me in a truck. And they started blaring out the N-word and calling me all kinds of names and things that I wouldn't dare mention here. They got so close to me, causing me to fall off into the ditch. But as they pulled off, I found myself being a blessing because back in the days, black people wouldn't have made it through a situation like that. They would end up dead. So after I got up and rode off on my bike, I was counting it a blessing just to be able to still make it home. Wow. Another time I recall going into a grocery store or any type of store and find that people are following you around the store. Now mind you, it was never my intention to steal anything because I've been working since the age of 14 and 8 months. So I always had some money in my pocket. So I wasn't about to steal a thing. So if I was to leave something for the young people, I would tell them, first off, always be honest. Always be honest and always tell the truth. Because Nobody is perfect. Tell the truth, get it up off you, and continue about your way. See what I'm saying? Again, nobody is perfect. I wouldn't dare walk around and carry that guilt upon me when I can release it. And you will find also, too, that by releasing it and tell the truth, you'll find favor with people. Huh? Talk to me. And so, another thing, too, I would tell them to be humble. You see what I'm saying? Be thankful for the things that you have. You know what I'm saying? Be thankful when somebody be a blessing to you. I recall when I first got married. I married a woman with 4 children, and I had 2 of my own. I recall people telling me, man, ain't no God tell you to marry no woman with 4 children. But let me tell you this. Me and my wife been married now 28 years. All of my babies are successful and working hard. I have 4 college grads, a dental assistant, you know what I'm saying, a real estate agent. Oh my gosh, it's so much, you know. And me and my wife are still in love right to this day. I still open the door for her. I still hold her hand. Still bring her little cute things at home when I get off from work. Let the girl know that I love her and appreciate her. So, having said all that, thank you for having me. And there's much more that I can share, but time don't permit me to say everything that I have to say or want to say. The song that you hear in the background is Sam Cooke, A Change Is Gonna Come. I always heard Dad sing this song and play this song throughout the house. He wrote this song in a time when racism and injustice was prevalent and had its head sticking up. So he wrote this song. So I value this song here. Sam Cooke, A Change Is Gonna Come. Thank you everybody for having me. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for your time. And like I said, there's much more that I can share, but time don't permit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's been times that I thought I wouldn't last for long. But now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Thank you.